How many of you really, really hate Teslas? Moreover, how many of you hate it when somebody blocks the fuel island? Stick around for some feedback on this specific question. My opinions and why I'm mentioning Teslas, it'll be an interesting one. And if you notice something different on the road this week, any changes to the messages that are coming up on your cell phone? There's one state making a push you need to know about. Could have some good things about it, but yet there's some things like me. I always look at the hidden consequences. You know, for every action, there's sometimes unintended consequences. Recently, I thought I was alone in this space, of me having this show. Of course, I'm not totally unique. I have others that do like I do, but I'm the only unique talk show that has the news and the call-in, But in other areas, well, there are people that are just like me. So stick around and see if I've got a doppelganger in broadcast. This and more as we gear up to talk about the issues. Welcome and welcome all. It is a lovely privilege to come again, once again, before you with news and information that can help you make trucking great again. Have you been looking for dependable news? Have you been looking for a guy that has some pretty sharp opinions? Well, your search for greatness ends here. And so begins another day of broadcast excellence here in the Truckin City Mobile Studios, currently located on the left coast. Yeah, it's only about 4:15 here. Do you know where your truck is? Founded by a leader in charge of the fastest movement in social media, with a skill granted by God himself to restore your faith in broadcast talent. From behind the golden truth in broadcast microphone, running an experience-filled open mic show of epic proportions. You said a mouthful. Let me tell you what. Say that 5 times fast. I'm in it for the millions of you worldwide. The millions of you that feel neglected, misinformed, and are fighting out here with me on the front lines. I, your host, single-handedly pointing out there's always a way to make trucking great again. And guess what? We don't need the media interfering. You're welcome to call our show, 860-785-3547, 860-785-3547. You'll have to pardon my stopping on the occasions because I'm having internet issues, hence the reason we started the show late. Some things I know they happen, others I don't, so I have to rely on instinct. And right now, my internet is not keeping up with my instinct. Welcome to the show, everyone. My name is Bossman. I am the CIC of the Truth in Broadcasting Network. We're building a show for truckers that is built by truckers. You guys are what make this show possible. Your contributions, such as clicking on the StreamYard link. If you want to become a host or a panelist on the show, you're welcome to it. Calling our show by calling our studio lines. Once I open that up, you're welcome to call in. Or you can get really froggy and send us an email of a story or link you feel you'd like talked about on a future show, or we can cover it here. All depends on you, my friend. Don't just sit back and watch things unfold. Become part of the movement and support this show by going down below, hitting the like button, become a subscriber. We're easy to find. TruckinCityMedia.com. TruckinCityMedia.com. We are all about getting the job done. And you are what I'm in it for. So today I'd like to start out the show with, as always, a positive moment for you guys to realize a lot's possible. So let's see. Do I have a doppelganger? And do we all hate Teslas? Well, let's have a conversation about it.
Shall we begin?
From the trenches of trucking experience and the passionate heavyweight in the Truth and Broadcasting Network, welcome to Truckin City News FrontLine Podcast, hosted by the most opinionated broadcaster on YouTube, Boss Man.
That's me, live and in the fresh. Yeah, I said that, live and in the fresh. I'm all tongue-tied and mouth words just ain't forming right. But that's my internet. I'm not blaming it on me. Folks, if you're hearing the sound of my voice, you're still listening, there's only one reason. You detest Main Street media propaganda. You reject the idea that freedom's for sale. And you've sought out an expert in the most critical art of deciphering and wordsmithing, even though my current display doesn't say as much. But you've discovered that the price tag for conformity is unreadable, and you need someone like me to read the language. And also a team of hecklers that could only be defeated by Ron White in a prison costume. But I digress. This week's panel is a little smaller than normal. But hey, that's trucking. Yeah, I know, it's a shameless plug. It works, but nonetheless, the panel we have is a panel of unique individuals that still comprise nearly 100 years worth of trucking expertise and lively opinion, and they'll all get the job done just the same as everyone else does. If you'd like to become a guest on this show, click the StreamYard link pinned in the comment at the very top or down in the description, and we'd love to have you on. So, Larry, let me tell you something. I've seen a lot of people deal with a lot of things, but get them done, that's rather unique. I've been saying that quite a bit this week myself. How's your week been going, my friend?
Let me start off by saying, get them done.
There you go. Poet, life in Canada.
Heck of a week, though.
I don't doubt it. Poet, the life in Canada certainly goes on. Tell me, are you guys feeling the chill yet from the cold air?
Nope.
No.
At the end of the week, it's going to be between 90 and 95 Fahrenheit.
So I guess I'm jumping the gun a little bit. We've had a few cool days starting around the northern parts of the states. I've driven so far through Colorado, Wisconsin to Colorado, all the way into California, and it's nights are starting to get a little chillier at night. So,
well, yeah, but that's a bunk heater, right?
Oh yeah, I got a bunk heater. Trust me, I can use it if I need to. Thumper and Bo, welcome to the program. I love that dog. Oh my word! Tell you what. How many compliments and comments do you get on that dog every day when you drive that truck? That dog's got to be sticking his snout out the window, sniffing air, I'll tell you.
Oh, yeah. He does a lot. Everybody says they love him and whatnot. So he's
a great addition to the show. I love it.
Yeah, we'll see how long he sits here. He's laid down.
Yeah. patience of a dog is usually well tested when it comes to an hour-long show.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see.
Not be laying down.
Gentlemen, I want to introduce you guys to what I think may be my doppelganger, in theory only. Let me introduce you to Tom Kirk, a man who embodies the true spirit of trucking. A spirit driven by passion, commitment, and a love for the open road. Tom's story is a testament to what can happen when you follow your heart and pursue what you're passionate about. After years behind the wheel, he's taken his knowledge and experience and transformed it into a powerful voice on the airwaves, broadcasting from his cab on what's called the Transportation Network channel. Tom's love for trucking is undeniable. He's a driver first, but he's also found a way to give back to his fellow truckers by providing news, insights, and a bit of humor throughout his daily shows. And even when the world was thrown into chaos by COVID, Tom stepped up, kept the wheels turning, and proved that when you're passionate about something, you find a way to make it work. So whether he's sharing his thoughts on the latest industry news or promoting causes close to his heart, Tom Kirk is a shining example of what it means to live your passion every single day. Now, let me tell you something. I say doppelganger because you know what? Despite any of the troubles I have with my technology, I may be up here late and I may be up here a little behind schedule, but I'm up here. And the mission that I hold true to this channel holds true to this day and will continue to pursue just so much every day. And I'm not going to give up. You know, I want to deliver my opinions. I want to deliver my thoughts. And I want to make it known to everybody that the best talk show on trucking is right here in your face. I want you to spread the word. I want you to do just like Tom does. Tune in. Rely on you. Basically, rely on me to tell you what I see. And I'll rely on you to give me your honest feedback. I mean, it's just that simple. I mean, he is not what I modeled this show on, but he might as well be. At some point later on in another show, I'll tell you who I'm modeling this show from. But I believe it's a cause that needs more proliferation. I believe it's a cause you, the listener, will benefit from. So, not to toot my own horn, but Larry, when it comes to getting news and information, do you know of any talk show similar to that which you see on this show where you can actually tune in and get repeatedly opinion, feedback, and just more than the anchor? I realize that's how I set this up. It's not just me. It's you guys on the panel, and it's you guys watching the show as well that I feel make the biggest difference in this show. So, Larry, have you ever yet spotted or thought of, relying on somebody in that way, or?
Well, just you, pretty much. That's you. Your channel's the only one I watch.
Right.
I get more information out of the hour long that you have than I will out of someone else.
All right. And by the way, I want to congratulate you on becoming a member of what looks like John's channel, I believe. Because between all of us on the panel, I think Driving with John is the only one that's taking memberships anyway. So am I reading that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good deal. Well, congratulations to you for that one. And I think you made a smart decision. Driving with John is in the audience, by the way. He is, due to commitments, he'll be supporting from tonight in questions only, in comments only. So thank you for joining in, at least in that way, even though you can't be on camera. My heart goes out to you. Hope you get done with what you need to do and all that. Another guest who is not on our panel tonight, who normally is likewise tied up in trucking duties. Grumpy old trucker. His birthday is coming up, so be sure and drop a happy birthday in the comments. and certainly give him well wishes. I believe his birthday is tomorrow, so the man will be officially a year older tomorrow. So let me see. Good evening to Sassafras. Scanning my comments to see if anybody else is catching this. Give me just a moment, folks.
What happened there?
We can't, man. We can't.
Hey, boss man.
Uh-oh.
This is YouTube live at its finest, eh?
Right? We
So, anyways, well, let's keep it going. How's everybody doing?
We're doing. Hopefully, he catches on here.
He will. We'll hear him in a minute. If everybody just starts waving their hands in the air like they just don't care, he might realize something's wrong.
No, because my internet's really acting up.
Whoa!
It's acting
Oh,
squirrely.
there he
Sorry,
is.
guys.
There he is.
You know what frustrates me? I keep hitting the buttons to either mute or unmute, change a screen. It won't work. And it's the internet, and that's what the problem is. The internet is trying to take down my show, but I won't let it happen.
They
Stick
gotta
together.
build that back better.
Yeah, we're gonna build back better. Exactly. Somebody needs to build back a better internet connection. But anyway, continuing on with my guests momentarily. I'll be with y'all in a moment. 7C's is in the house. Bless you. Glad you could make it. My wife is also watching from the background. So far, the comment section's working good. I appreciate everybody hanging in with me. I appreciate that. Currently in the bunk of my 389. I have a feeling the show's going to be good. Ohio Trucker, welcome to the show. Yes, it will be. Gotten off to a grand old start, let me tell you. So, yes, I appreciate everybody giving me the heads up on the audio and everything else. Looking for new faces. We have another one, Jerome Jones. It's the legend, Fate Trucking. He's definitely following you, my friend. So
Yeah, Jerome Jones is the man.
if
you need to know what goes on west of the Mississippi, get a hold of Jerome Jones.
There you go. Nice to know. Well, I hope the audio
east.
quality coming or east. Okay. I hope the audio quality to the audience is coming a lot better than it is to me. So it's kind of choppy. I'm going to try to bear with it. Everybody bear with me. Fate, real quick, what did you think of my story about Tom Kirk? Do you think it's kind of right on that I'm doing what I'm doing, or do you think it's more or less just another show?
No, I like your show. I think that you kind of what you said. I mean, I'm not patting you on the back or anything, but like how you open it up to different opinions and different ideas is a great thing. The reality is, well, like I said, we all have our own opinions. We all operate differently, but it's nice to have a show that you can call into, email, or like be a part of,
Right.
and try and like have some common ground.
Right. There is somebody that has taken advantage of the studio line, and that is somebody that is not with us in panel, but is with us on the phone. So, want to say hello to the caller on the phone. Good day, Grumpy. Glad you could join us on the phone. Good day.
co-star. What's up with that, boss man?
Without my co-star. You call yourself a co-star. If you were a co-star, you'd be on the panel there, pain in the butt.
Well, no, that's Truckin.
That's Truckin.
Unfortunately.
Shameless plug.
Everybody.
Hey, Grumpy.
Hey, Grumpy, you got Thumper saying hello to you. And everybody
What
in the
up?
audience, I told them to wish you happy birthday. Was I right in saying that it's tomorrow?
It's tomorrow. The big bad 45.
Oh,
Happy
45. Wow.
He acts like he's so old.
45? That's it?
Yeah. 45,
That's it?
yeah. I thought he was older.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you're
I
older,
thought
but
so too.
unfortunately, 45 is what I'll call it. That's what we're sticking with.
Yeah. That's your story and you're sticking to it, huh?
Yeah, guaranteed.
Yeah.
But
So, Grump,
I just wanted to come in and drop by, say hi, and let everybody know I'm still alive, and I will be here for Saturday's show. Unfortunately, duty calls, like I said, that's trucking. Got to do what I got to do.
Oh, yep.
And I got to make good money by keeping them wheels turning. So,
that's right. So,
Hey,
everybody
boss man.
and see Grumpy on Saturday.
there you go. Anybody feeling froggy, go to Grumpy Old Truckers on YouTube. Give this man a subscription and certainly take a look at his videos. He's definitely a very unique video creator, and he's a very funny old guy despite his name.
Hey, boss man, ask him, does he have any crabs in a Gatorade bottle?
Ask that again, Fake, because you're kind of choppy.
Does he have any crabs in a Gatorade bottle?
Have any crabs in the Gatorade bottle, I think is what he asked.
Any crabs? CRABS.
Crabs in a Gatorade bottle.
No, not in Missouri. That's not happening, but sorry.
That's funny. That's funny.
Not that anyway.
Well, Grumpy, we certainly
yet,
thank you
anyway.
for calling in, and certainly love the fact that even though you can't be on the panel, you're contributing to the show. So God bless you.
My pleasure, boss man. I try to get here when I can, if I can.
That's
And I
right.
figured I'd make a call and let everybody know I'm still out here, and I will see them Saturday.
All right. Well, we look forward to seeing that. And if it ain't been said and it hadn't been said enough, happy birthday, old man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Old
And
man.
I'll see you on Saturday. Take care.
All right. God bless, Grumpy.
Take care.
Old
So
man,
yeah.
old
Anyway,
youngster.
so the last question I'll go around to you guys. I didn't really ask anything of Thumper on this one. So, I mean, I don't model my show after Mr. Kirk, but I think my theory and my passion are about the same. So, I mean, think about it. I mean, it's one thing to do it on the radio, but it's a totally different thing to do it here on YouTube. And at least make it look decent. I mean, because with these technical issues, I don't know how it looks, but I'm gonna keep making my mark every single day, every single time I can do it. So I mean, what are your thoughts, Thumper? What your I don't know.
About your
Is it?
show?
I'm stepping on you, but
No, you're good.
again, internet
About
issues.
Your show, no, you're good. About your show, I really enjoy it. You're pretty much the only one I listen to, but like as panel and stuff like that on there, I could think of two shows I used to listen to growing up as a kid. It was the Rush Limbaugh show, and the other one was K out of Fargo. It was a talk show about politics and others, like not just politics, but everything that's going on in the world and stuff. That
Right.
was sitting there riding around in the pickup with Grandpa.
Right.
Listen to so.
Well, that's good. That's good. So yeah, I mean, I'm making small changes. I'm not making sweeping changes, but like I said, in a future show, I'll kind of let it loose as to who I'm actually modeling, and I'll willingly get your feedback if I'm actually close to the mark. But we'll save that for a future show. In the meantime, let's talk about our next story because I feel like it's probably good to know about what's going on while you're driving the truck anyway. And this is probably going to be right on good information that you're going to need to know about. I mean, if you noticed as I opened the show, when you drive out nowadays, mostly in the northern states, I haven't noticed it so much here out west, or even been around the southern states because it's something I've just recently noticed is happening. All right. Michigan State Police kicked off an initiative, and I think it's gone further than just Michigan. It's all over. But in their infinite wisdom, they're deciding the best way to keep the roads safe is by sending out messages directly to truckers' ELDs. And in addition to the ELDs, they're also hitting the cell phones. So watch for it coming to a cell phone near you. That's right. As you're rolling down the highway, the state police are going to start beaming these little 25 character messages right into your dashboard, whether it's on your ELD or your phone, warning you about everything from road hazards to enforcement operations, construction, stalled vehicles, you name it. Things you need to know about before you run into them. So now at first glance, this might seem like a good idea. I mean, who doesn't want to know about something before it actually happens? Right? They're saying these messages will help prepare truckers and slow them down and prepare them for what's ahead. But folks, let's be honest. Are we just adding another distraction? I mean, it wasn't long ago we saw all kinds of headlines about distracted driving and all the tickets that they're offering because, people have cell phones in their hands or they have their eyes off the road for any length of time. You talk about the statistics of what distracted driving actually does. I mean, now you've got truckers already dealing with millions and millions of things already on their plate while they're driving the truck. Let's throw another thing at them, right? So here's the kicker. It's all part of this bigger plan to ramp up on traffic safety enforcement. Well, that's great. They're going to be on the lookout for all sorts of driving violations, speeding, tailgating, and proper lane changes. Now, add this to it, right? They're trying to keep you safe, but in the way that they're doing it is kind of antithetical to the process. We need to have a serious conversation about this because distractions are bad enough. But now you add this message thing, I think it's a little bit too much. So you tell me in the audience, comment in the chat, tell me if you think I'm right on this, or do you think they're actually doing a good thing? Let us know in the comments. I want to know your thoughts. Larry, what do you think when it comes to distractions? Do you think they're on the mark? Do you think they're doing the right thing? Or do you think it's another thing to just add to what's already way too much?
I think it's already way too much. I mean, they tell us to keep our eyes on the road, but yet they're sending these messages to you and you have to look away.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just like when you get those Amber Alerts on your phone or bad weather alerts on your phone. You take your eye away from the road. That's distracted driving.
Yeah, I mean, as it stands, it's already more than we can handle. You're driving. Sometimes you get, if you drive through a succession of counties with Amber Alerts, your phone's just going to. I mean, and those aren't just mild. They loud beep. They go for a while until you actually reach over and hit OK. The damn thing's beeping. It's letting you know there's an emergency. You add this to it. Now, I mean, when does it stop?
I mean, in a way, I think it might help if like during the months, how everybody seems to pile up everywhere. But if you're getting that warning before, you can decide, hey, I'm just going to stay right here and not go anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. It's a good point indeed. So if you don't want to put it in the chat, definitely give us a call, 860-785-3547. I want to talk to you. Let us know what your thoughts are on this topic and any others you feel froggy about. Say again, Larry. I kind of interrupted you, Larry. You had a thought going. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. on my ELD, I can't do anything when I'm moving, so it won't let you look up anything or anything. So it goes into driving mode. So that message would just sit there.
Yeah, it's still kind of in the beginning stages. So, I mean, there's really not a whole lot of knowledge as to how it affects ELDs. But I can tell you, first of all, having driven from Wisconsin, actually all the way through, I drove up through Ohio into Minneapolis, through Wisconsin, through Colorado, and eventually now I'm here. So I've been all across the northern tier of the United States. And I can tell you, first of all, every single major city that had construction, stalled vehicles, speed traps, anything that, is, I mean, Google's typing it out. I mean, it's like every 60 seconds, there's always something different. And especially when you have that driving app, so it's, I mean, it's crazy. It's constantly flashing across the bottom of the screen. Personally, it annoys the crap out of me because all I want to do is look at the mileage to see how far I've got to go. And these messages keep covering that up. So, I mean,
Yeah.
Google would be well served by changing how that shows up and where, but that's just my back thoughts on that. But I don't know. I just don't like the way they're doing it. What about you, Thumper? I mean, you're covering a lot of the same northern tier states that I currently do. I mean, have you noticed an increase in these messages? And what are your thoughts in terms of the question I asked?
My thoughts are they're good but bad. I mean, it's nice to be informed. It really is the number one thing, being informed of what's in front of you. But it's really bad. You're gonna take your eyes off the road. You're gonna reach over, grab your phone, or hit miss on your ELD. I mean, I don't know how ELDs work. I don't have one, but I did notice I was in Texas. Oh, going on, and they don't use that. They have the billboards above the ways, and it says missing person with silver Chevy Silverado license plate, blah blah blah. Later, like a few miles down the road, there was another one that said accident at this, or that I noticed down in Texas. That's how they drivers.
Right.
So
a lot
it's
of
not
the
on your
states in the
phone.
southeast, to your point, yeah, a lot of states in the southeast use these billboards, which I think is probably the smartest way because they can be updated in real time.
Yep.
So that's a smart way to do it.
Of them. Yeah, and North Dakota's got a couple, but it seems like they never work. But or they just don't.
Grumpy's probably noticing that through Missouri as well, because I know a number of messages come up in Missouri quite a few times. Whether it's accidents, tell you what mile marker it is, the ambulance you mentioned, that kind of thing.
I mean, a lot of time. Oh,
no, go ahead.
I've noticed a lot of times when my phone goes off is always around wintertime. Really major accident or really bad weather, but generally my phone never really goes off.
Right. So when it comes to Canada and technology, what are things like up there? Are you noticing anything in Canada with an increase in, say, maybe messages coming over your mapping software or anything similar to what I'm talking about up there, Poet?
Well, me and WCF Invader are having that conversation on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm about to highlight some of those comments here in a minute.
Yeah. Okay. So I've been on paper for a while, and I got laid off for Easter. If it comes on my LD, that's fine.
Right.
But
you still have a cell phone, though. That Yeah, but you still have a cell phone. I mean, just because your ELD is paper doesn't mean anything. You still have a cell phone. You probably still use
I know that.
So you probably still get the same messages I'm talking about there.
I know, I understand that. But the next thing you know, my GPS. Okay?
Okay.
So it says exactly, poet. Truckers are exempt identically to how Leos are exempt. And I went back at him said, so that being said, if I explained that I was looking at my ELD after a fatal accident, I can claim it. He came back to me and said, I believe that you couldn't be just couldn't be cited for distractor, but you would still be held at fault after the accident. I understand. But with everything that's going on, okay, messages on my ELD, messages on my phone, messages on my GPS, where does up?
Sorry about that, folks. My internet, unfortunately.
Audio. Uh, Again, no audio, so I didn't hear any.
Are you able to hear me okay?
I am now.
Okay. All right. Sorry, my internet, I mean, just momentarily just disappeared. I don't know
I
what it
know.
is.
I know.
Just so you and the audience know, I am located real close to Los Angeles. You would think the internet would be stellar here, but obviously you see it's not. So my apologies to everyone in the
Look how
audience.
many people live in LA.
Or
No, my wife actually made a joke earlier. I'm starting to believe it. She said the Kardashians are busy uploading their TikToks. That's why I have no internet. I'm starting to
I
believe
was
it.
I was actually gonna ask you, are you running 5G or LTE? Because
Gonna
it
ask
could
what?
be
Say again.
it, you running 5G or LTE, because it could be trying to switch back and forth, go in and switch it to LTE like I just did it with my phone, and I've noticed a difference in my internet.
I tried both ways. I went to 2.4
Okay.
and I went to 5.0, and I've switched all three and I get the same result because I know about the difference in
Okay.
frequencies. So I've tried all three and I get the same result. So it's the bandwidth here because for some reason, again, it's right now approaching 5 o'clock on the West Coast. So, I must
Uh,
be broadcasting on peak usage around here, and that's probably what the problem is. You know, as a
yeah.
broadcaster, I realize I'm in stiff competition for internet around here, so I'll have to deal with it. It's the best I can do. In the meantime, those in the audience, I just have to ask your patience and your forgiveness. But more to your point you were making a moment ago, yes, WCF Invaders says we're exempt from distracted driving laws only in so long as it deals with the ELD, but it does not forgive the distractions over the cell phone, which a part of the story I'm talking about does affect ELDs, yes, but still, when you get these creeping messages coming up on your cell phone with the same regularity, it can be a distraction and it can be dangerous, especially when you've got truck drivers and you've seen them out there that are prone to texting while they're driving, even though they shouldn't, watching movies while they're driving, even though they know it's dangerous. I mean, it's just incredible. Let's put out more regulations and more policies that force drivers to pay more attention to their cell phones. That will make it safer. You know. So I just don't get the thought process going in here. Um, if you ask me, they'll distract drivers. And if what they don't have a signal, how's that going to help anyone? Well, yeah, because not every area of the country can receive those messages. So it's usually big city areas. So I get your point, though. Good making on Sassafras. Biden wears diapers in the House, making another one. What's next? ELD push notifications offer voter registration and opting into Social Security. That's cute. Don't give them ideas, dude. You're making it easier for the government to control you. Don't you know that? Um, I digress. Seriously. How quick until they pull someone over for being on their phone, checking their alert details? Sounds like entrapment. Good point, Haas. I'm glad you joined the show. Great that you're making the comments. I appreciate every contribution you make, my friend. Um, Look, I mean, it's really the tip of the iceberg. I mean, I get people want to help us be safe, but it's another entirely to go about it in a way that's actually congruent with the rules we have to follow already. Don't make our job more difficult. Make it easy. I mean, if you want to put push notifications, make it a hands-off thing and make it something that we can opt out of, because not every one of us want these things, you know? Um, I mean, that's obvious. I mean, it's not the greatest thing in the world to just force things on every single driver and expect them to understand what it is. So
Who
I'm
remembers
gonna move.
when this was the only communication device you had?
Right? Yeah. I hope the audience hears you better than I do, because I'll tell you, the audio coming into me from you guys is horrible. So if I don't
Sorry,
respond the way
buddy.
you think I should, I'm sorry. It's not you. It's obviously me on this one. Um, I'll get back to the comments in just a moment. I'm going to get on to the next story. It's what the thumbnail was talking about, and I think really deserves a lot of conversation. And that's around electric vehicles. I mean, here in the last, I don't know, year or so, there's been this huge push. Let's get more electric vehicles on the road. Let's condemn everybody that drives these ICE vehicles, right? Gas is bad. Diesel's bad. Yeah, well, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about something that's really got everyone's engines revving lately here. These electric vehicles are now in the news in a different way. Linked below is a story about why are people even talking about electric vehicles. That's one of the questions. But yet another question in this story is, why are people hating on them? There's one thing you can firmly believe in this show right now. You can hate it, you can love it. It doesn't matter what you think of electric vehicles, but they're coming. They're here. They're not going anywhere. And the hype over them certainly ain't going to go anywhere anytime soon. All right. You may not be on board with it, but put in the chat, tell me, are you ready for the electric transformation? Let me know your thoughts. Meantime, this article is making the rounds because a Tesla driver, and he might not be in a truck, but bear with me, this has got truck purpose to it, had a run-in with a guy in a diesel engine GMC pickup truck. And when he asked, the gentleman was parked right in front of electric charging stations, took up the entire section, just as pictured here, and further pictured right here. I mean, he took up the entire section. I mean, think about it. Would you block the fuel island for fellow truckers? Oh, I know there's many of you out there. But think about it. If you own an electric vehicle and there's only one place that you can go to charge your vehicle, where are you going to go? If this guy stays there and he's rude, which in this story details he was, his comment was, go buy a gas car. Okay, now this article is about pickups, not semis, but the sentiment behind this is close to home for the trucking industry. I mean, the writer doesn't get it. He doesn't just get it. He actually asks, why do they love gas so much? Why is it someone driving a gas vehicle hates electric semis to the point that they'll actually do that? I mean, what did that guy ever do to him? What did an electric vehicle, or therefore an electric charger, ever do to him? Does it represent a really big threat? I mean, as a trucker, I love diesel, okay? And I love the idea of keeping going the dream of the diesel engine. But to the extent that I'm going to hate on or make someone's life miserable by denying them access to the very thing they need, I'm doing the same thing to myself. if by parking my vehicle in a way that blocks all the electric chargers, I'm so much as saying I don't matter. Because it would be the same thing as me driving up to a 4-pump diesel gas station or diesel fueling station, parking my rig perpendicular to all the gas pumps and saying, no, you can't get diesel because I hate diesel. Well, I drive a diesel, so what sense would that make? So my question being posed here is the same. Why is somebody driving a diesel engine, would you go to the extent of being such an ass as to prevent someone with an electric car from simply parking for a few minutes, getting a charge and moving on? He's not hurting you. The electric vehicle situation is not hurting you. Newsom isn't that powerful, debate for another show. But, what gives? Are there really that many haters out there? I mean, what do you think? Put it in the comments. Let me know. Are you really that against the movement of going from diesel to electric that you agree with this mentality? I mean, let's be real. Electric vehicles are not going anywhere. And you know what? You don't have to switch tomorrow, but why make the argument twice as bad by doing what this fella did and blocking the charging port? I mean, think about it. If you're looking to get fuel, Larry, and you need fuel, the last thing you want to deal with is a bonehead trucker sitting in the only open fuel aisle, doing a 30-minute break, forcing you to sit there and wait for him. How many times have you run into that one, Larry?
Probably once every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Don't you think blocking the electric charging station is kind of almost the same theory and just as stupid?
Well, yeah. I mean, just because they drive electric vehicles don't mean they can't charge themselves up like they do.
Yeah.
I mean, it may take them a little bit longer, but they've got to go somewhere too.
Right.
Good it's like you said, it's not going anywhere. So
yeah. No, it ain't. Good words coming from Grumpy in the background through Sassafras. Both of you, thank you much for making mention to our last conversation. Grumpy says there's a way of turning off notifications of your settings on your phone and hit them up for just presidential emergencies only. And I didn't really think about that right in the story, but good point. I'm glad you mentioned that. Thank you, Grumpy, for mentioning that. But yeah, I mean, I get it frequently myself. When it comes to getting fuel, more times than not, I don't take the rude approach. I don't get up and actually get in somebody's face and say you're a bonehead and all that. Unlike Ike Stevens, that's the movement of filmed, encounters. I don't do all that, but still, I mean, there's two ways about everything. There's the nice way, and there's the crappy way. Me, I always try the nice way first. I mean, that's just it. Now, whether it's electric or diesel, I don't care. The theory's the same. All right? Do for yourself, but think of others. That's always been my philosophy. Don't be a jerk and think you're the only one in the industry. I mean,
right.
That's really a crappy way of looking at it. Think about it from this perspective, Thumper. I mean, how often do you even see electric charging stations up where you're at? I mean, it's probably not very many at all, if any at all.
Actually, you'll be very surprised how many charging has popped up up here in the north. I mean, it's a lot.
Really?
Yeah, every major. Actually, I'm over by out right now, and they're actually starting to pop up in rest areas. And
interesting.
Really. Yep. Yeah, they're. I mean, every Target, Walmart's starting to put them in. There's gas truck stops are up here starting to everything else. And when you kind of started this whole electric vehicle, I'm sitting here trying to refrain myself a little bit because I could go on for hours about electric vehicles. I have mixed emotions about them. It's the new way. I mean, that's simple as that. It's here. It's here to stay. I've learned how to deal with it, but at the same time, I'm going to bring up this point, and maybe it might start an argument, might not. But the way I feel about them is, why would I want to go out and spend? I don't know what a new Tesla car costs, $100,000 or something like that, on a car that only lasts 3 years. You can't replace the batteries, and you got to turn around and buy a car again. It just doesn't make sense to me. And it actually, I understand the concept of the pollution and everything. It all makes sense and all that stuff, but actually making more pollution making the batteries than a regular car or semi driving down the road.
Yeah. I kind of agree with the point you're making, but I take exception to one part of your point, and I don't think Tesla is going to make cars that are primarily run on one fuel cell, such as batteries, without at least having the ability to, if not replace the batteries, at least repair them. These batteries don't last forever, and you and I both know that. And just the idea you mentioned about having to replace the car as opposed to batteries, I think there is a way, and it just might not be very public, because who wants to spend $10,000, $20,000 on batteries when, that's the core of the car? But I think if need be, you could probably have them either repaired or replaced, or at least segmented to be able to efficiently run. So whether you're right on that or whether you're wrong on that is not the point I'm making. But to the greater point that you're stumbling upon, I endorse your mentality, because you know what? The cost of a semi-truck at this point does not warrant the full conversion yet. No one can afford it. So the idea that they want to convert everyone over to fully electric is grandiose, to say the least.
There's a guy I follow on YouTube, and you guys probably heard of him. He came out with a hybrid semi. It's called Tipsy, and it's by Edison Motors. He based his off of the Tesla semi. It's a diesel engine that is a generator. It runs 1500 RPM all day long, and he's actually narrowed down that the engine that he's using is a Scania V8, and it just sits there and runs the generator, and it kicks on and off like a normal generator when the batteries get low on his that powers the truck. Hey, that's awesome. I'm all for that. He's actually really kind of interesting to watch on YouTube. And then the other thing I was going to bring up too is out in the West Coast, down south, East Coast, everybody is all about the electric stuff. I have noticed up here in the north, there is more and more nitrogen semis.
Right.
And there's actually nitrogen pumps in North Dakota, Minnesota, South Dakota, Montana. And I mean, it's awesome that they're starting to come up with alternative fuels and stuff. But me personally, I never replace the diesel engine.
Like you, I think our best option for the interim is like the fellow you follow, and that is to do it by hybrid means, because I mean, until we've actually developed a technology, and this is just my opinion, comment down below if you think I'm wrong. I think until we've developed a technology that perfects the art of utilizing the least amount of resources for the most efficient output, I think hybrid's the best answer, because right now the batteries are still too big, too heavy, and I think the technology is still too unpredictable at this moment to really put it to full use in semis. Now, I'm not talking about autonomy or automation. I'm not talking about any of that. All I'm talking about is the electrification. When you involve it in not only cars but semis, you're thinking about a lot of vehicles, a huge amount of resources that we currently don't have yet. Plenty of diesel. We got plenty of gasoline. Fossil fuels are still in abundance. We're not threatened by that. But right now, converting everyone and getting them off that and fully onto electric, the economy just doesn't support it, and the resources I don't think are quite there. Haas says him blocking those is the same as protesters blocking roads to, quote, save the earth. No one is so important that they have the right to state access to public resources. Good point, my friend. I agree fully on that one. Another one, facts don't care about feelings. EVs last a lot longer than 3 years. Yeah, I wasn't really going to go there. I mean, the lifespan of the batteries may be around that, but I don't think the cars themselves. And I think I've pretty much touched on that to clear that one up. But I appreciate you making that point. Said the axles on them are trash. They have been having recalls. I assume you mean electric vehicles. So if that's the case, yes, I wouldn't depend on them. Biden wears diapers. There are plenty of Teslas on the road with 200 plus thousand miles on the same battery with only 80% degradation. 80% degradation. I don't know if you're wording that because of the fact that it's not holding the same charge. I don't know how to read that. But if I had a vehicle with that many miles, with that kind of degradation, hell, my batteries here, if there's any degradation in the 4 batteries in this semi, they're gone. And I've already had to replace batteries. So the point I made earlier, and I appreciate Biden wears diapers making that point. The point I made earlier is we need better resources. We need better materials that can basically withstand the charge, discharge. I think once we've got that perfected, then things like what Biden wears diapers points out then becomes less of a concern. So you can purchase a new battery. They run around 10 to 20,000 depending on the model of Tesla. Currently, you can only lease them on big trucks. Yeah, I get that, but you know what? We're not there yet. Right now, the range and, as she brings up, the cost is still an issue. But even a more general question. All right, think about this. Just the hostility itself, just the hostility that was brought up in the article. And again, it'll be linked down below, so go down below and read it for yourself. I mean, do you guys out there in the audience and those on the panel, answer freely, no order. Do you guys think that this is rooted in a fear of change? Maybe, more deeply connected with just, I don't see, like I talked about a minute ago, the EV being the thing. Do you think it feeling like a threat to the man's ego or livelihood that he's willing to do that? What do you guys think? Put it in the chat. Let me know. What do you guys think?
I think it's more the fact that they're telling us we have to do something. And that's why I kind of have a problem with it. This is America. We're free. We're supposed to be free.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I think, we should have, I always have this theory. I don't care the type of person you are or anything like that. Push your beliefs on me. I am who I am. You are who you are. If we can conversation, we'll get along. And I think that's why I fight this whole EV thing is because it's the government trying to on us.
Yeah.
And then our natural reaction is fight back.
Yep. Larry, do you think there should be legal consequences or penalties maybe for doing such a thing as maybe, say, blocking electric charger, or here's a new one, blocking a fuel pump? What do you think should happen? If you're going to block a person's way to getting to fuel, whether it's electric or diesel, do you think something should be done about it?
Well, how many times do you see a truck being towed away from the fuel aisle because they sat there too long?
Yeah, exactly.
I think it should be the same way with the electric chargers too. I mean, if that's what they have to drive, then more power to them. They should be able to feel free or charge it freely without being obstructed by anything. I mean,
Yeah. Poet, how do you
that's
think
what I
this
think.
whole entire? I'm sorry, I didn't think you were ready to
Go
go.
ahead.
Sorry for cutting you off. Again, internet's really shitty. Poet, how do you think this whole idea that's been brought up by this story tonight, and this whole idea of hating or resisting electric vehicles, how do you think it goes to impact a person's impression of the trucking industry? You think it makes a difference one way or the other?
It does. I just
Okay.
posted on the YouTube channel up here in the Great White North. Batteries won't think about minus 50 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's an actual fact during our winter. That's daytime temperature.
Yeah.
Okay? Some of the places I've run, there's not a in H that you could fully charge the batteries, okay, and expect to run uh, for as long as what we need to. And that's sometimes 6 to 8 to 10 hours between where we can stop.
Well, I certainly hope
You know,
everybody hearing your audio is better than me. I know the point you're getting to. I mean,
Quiet.
the negative, the negative, you know, temperatures and the really cold, I think would make electric
mm-hmm.
vehicles very problematic up there. So I get that point that you're making. I want to highlight for a minute, facts don't care about feelings. The story you're discussing has been completely vetted. Corporate media wants us to assume the diesel is deliberately blocking EV cars, or for all we know, it's no malicious intent. And the whole reason I brought this up, just so you know, facts don't care about feelings. The whole reason isn't to highlight the malicious intent. The story itself may have very well been written with a corporate tinge to it. Typically, my venue on this show is to highlight exactly that. I don't go nuts over every single, oh, whoa, look at me. I can read into a story. I don't do it the same way because you know what? The show isn't about me. The show is about you guys. You guys have the complete ability to look at a link, read a story, and fashion your own opinion. My job is providing the platform and opening the discussion. So, to the point you're making, good point. You're probably right. Corporate media, when they have every chance and every opportunity, they are going to put their own spin to it. Everybody knows corporate media wants electric vehicles to win the day. But we as truckers, we want what works to win the day. So on this platform,
Yep.
I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
draw this a neutral only because of the fact that, you know what? As I open this story with, you might not drive electric, but that don't give you a right to hate on it. And that was the biggest thing I saw in this story. Whether it's vetted or confirmed, the possibility remains, and the fact remains that it does happen. Whether this person actually deliberately did that or, as you word it, had malicious intent is irrelevant. The fact that it goes on is true, and you don't need a news story to see that. So when it comes down to it, our actions far and above dictate the image of the industry. And I do think we owe it to ourselves to watch exactly how we say it, what we say, and
Mm-hmm.
lastly, what we believe. It goes a long way to painting a brighter future. So, I mean, Larry, when you think about it, what really gets you burning more than a 3 foot flame when you think about the differences between diesel and electric? I mean, how can those that prefer diesel express their opinions without creating conflicts, without creating the story dynamic that this fellow brought up?
Well, I mean, we all know the electric vehicles are coming. The electric semis will eventually be probably not too far behind them. But in all reality, change is coming. We can either change, we can either adapt to the change or fall behind.
You can either adapt to the change or allow the change to overtake you.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty simple philosophy, really. I fully agree with what you're saying. You know, I mean, the day you become in the way of the change, that's the day the change overtakes you. So, to your point, a very good one.
Runs right
Thumper,
over,
I mean,
runs right over you.
exactly. Thumper, what's your thought? I mean, you know, how can people more or less still exercise their right to not want it, but at the same time, let's not get in the way of others who do? What do you think needs to happen?
Like Larry said, it's coming. We either got to deal with it or fall. Me, I'm iffy about it. I mean, if you could get an electric to go as far as my diesel semi, it does right now, 1,600 miles, I would probably be for it a lot better. But like I said, we're Americans, be able to speak our mind and be free about it, but don't force stuff on us that we're not ready for.
I fully agree with that. Gentlemen, I'll tell you what, this is definitely a spirited discussion. I thank each and every one of you. Take a moment before I go into my closing statement. Go down below. Subscribe to Driving with John, Grumpy Old Trucker, Midlife, even though they ain't on the show. I'm going to show them love anyway. And as we wrap up today, think about this. Everybody has their opinions. Everybody has their preferences and our way of doing things. But hey, let's not overtake the issue at hand. You might not like electric, but it's going to be here for a while. Remember, everybody's in this. We all have our part to play. So if you like what you've seen and heard today, go down and look at my show, please. Become a subscriber. Come back to us. We're improving each and every show because of you and the audience. I'm Boss Man, reminding you, it's the trucks that make the deliveries, but it's you that make the difference. Till next time, on Saturday at 11, keep it real, keep the faith, and above all else, keep it rolling.